everybody, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, my favorite podcast, their favorite podcast. It's MCUny. We're joining you here today from South Brooklyn. As always, I'm your host. That's right, Hell's Kitchen. I'm your host, Matt Murdoch, here with
Hector Ayala
and
Sandra Bullock.
That's right.
Oh God, it's hot in here. It's so hot. Okay, that's enough White Tiger for now.
So
We'll get to that.
Welcome to season 2.
Yes,
Season
welcome back, guys.
2.
There's been a little bit of a break,
A long break.
but yeah, no, we're excited. We're gonna. Phase 5 is looking great.
we're actually in phase 6 now.
Is that what this is considered?
Yes.
Is that what this is considered?
Yeah.
Wait, I
Yes.
thought Fantastic Four was the beginning of phase 6.
No.
No. He's more
Okay.
of the authority on
This
the
man
exact.
is-
Yeah.
knows
in
everything.
phase
He's a little bit better at that than us. So
6.
okay, wow. So then phase 6 is phase 5 is
I
a little
think-
short
I'm fairly certain.
and not the strongest.
No, it wasn't. It's usual
It was
length.
very short.
But 6, this is great. If this is the first, is Cap considered 6?
No,
Yeah.
Cap is 5.
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure that was the first phase 6.
No, I saw that Cap ended 5.
Oh, if,
Oh, so then that
That's the
ends the
case,
status
then.
quo of what we're living with in the movie world right now, and then moving forward. So now there's
right. So then now we have
Thunderbolts will bring in.
Daredevil.
Okay, cool. This is a very strange map. A lot of stuff you didn't expect to be like, because last year was so pulled back on their release schedule, and this year it's a little bit like foot back on the gas. So I'm excited, and we're here to talk mostly Daredevil. I loved it. But you're coming off of somebody who liked Ben Affleck Daredevil and somebody who liked the show like so much. I even kind of made excuses for Defenders, to be honest with you.
Well, listen, Reymi and I aren't as well versed in Daredevil. Neither he nor I have seen the Netflix show.
I thought you saw it.
No, I've just
No, he
seen
just knows a lot
recap
about it because of
videos
recaps and stuff. Yeah.
and such. I love it, of course, as always. And just to clear one thing up before we're completely past it, yes, this is season 2, episode 1, but we know there's only currently 5 episodes of season 1 out. There are about
This is true.
13 episodes of season 1 that will be
Released.
released in total. So
catch up with
there's
the
about
schedule.
8 more that you are yet to see.
Where we cover all of Agatha all along.
Oh, yeah.
A
we-
great show.
We've
Loved
covered
it.
everything.
Actually,
Don't worry.
It made me sad that they don't want to do another season as of right now with that.
But there'll be another spin-off.
I know. And there'll be stuff.
Yeah.
There'll be stuff.
There needs to be
she'll
a Billy
back.
show. I'm sure that'll happen.
The same way
So-
they said Moon Knight wasn't happening, and now they're like, by the way.
Right. Now they're looking for ways to bring him back.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and hey, in a dream world, we get some Moon Knight at the post-credit scene of this show with Punisher and Daredevil for founding Midnight Suns with Doctor Strange
Could be
pulls
cool.
up because that's
Could be
in
very
New York.
cool. It
You know,
depends how
but
many
that's a
cameos
dream.
they decide
That's
to go
just
for.
A dream. Yeah, this is a pipe dream. But
So let's talk episode 1.
Reymi, you did not see the episodes until we just watched them now.
Yeah, they're freshest in your mind. What's
So
your first hot take
what
on it?
do you think?
I thought it was good, and I actually very much enjoyed it. It was I didn't know anybody in this show. I didn't know a single person except for obviously Daredevil and
Actually,
Kingpin Wilson.
That's
Fisk.
a great way of since you did not know, and I should try to give you a thing. Marvel Comics, their thing as a publication, their mission statement, I believe it's called, was that every comic is potentially someone's first comic, right? So, and I feel like maybe they tried to employ that in this episode, be like, okay, maybe. Because we were talking how there's no recap about what has happened in previous seasons, what Daredevil's status quo is going into episode 1. It just cold starts, kind of. Like, it gives you, these 3 friends at a bar. You might not know who they are, but, it's just it's a kind of a cold start. Like, if somebody who's never seen a single episode or you have caught reviews of the previous show, but someone who's never seen any Daredevil content before.
I've seen a couple of episodes in the first season.
Exactly. Oh, so there you go. So it's like a cold start for someone like you. There's no backstory at all, let alone like recap. And so I was just really like, I'm fascinated. Does it feel like an okay jumping in point, not knowing anything?
Yeah.
That's my question, I guess.
Okay,
Do they hold true
so
to their mission statement from paper to media?
I think
from media form to media form.
I think I cheated because you guys told me a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but that's gonna happen when like if you go with friends to a comic book store and they tell you to read their favorite book, it's gonna happen for a reason.
I was just a random person.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, I think so. I think you get enough, especially with the Wilson Fisk and the Vanessa relationship. You get to see that, and you can kind of tell how that is. It's obvious that as well. What's her name? She was. They were trying to do something together. Daredevil and her in the bar. Come home with me later. What's her name? The girlfriend.
Karen Page.
The redhead.
Yes. Sure.
Yes.
Redhead? What are you talking about? She's blonde.
Right. I don't know.
Strawberry blonde.
Whatever color that
What?
is.
I don't know.
But yeah, you can tell.
It's the black and red. It's the black and blue dress.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely gold and white. You can tell. Like I think it was. I think it was good. I would assume there's gonna be some I would assume they flash back to some stuff from Netflix.
Not flashback, but like referenced.
You don't think there's gonna be like some clips in there?
Oh, hard.
Here's the thing: is in Echo that Kingpin has flashed back to the moment with his father. Well, a moment with his father.
True.
In the past, and that itself was not. They've shown that in the Netflix show, but when they showed it in Echo, it was not the footage from Netflix. It was like a
recreated footage.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
recreated, but it was very similar. Was it almost the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar.
Yeah, that's
That's
you can
smart.
speak on that.
Then maybe that's
One thing though, one stipulation that I've always made, especially on Twitter, is that the hammer that Kingpin uses
Oh, it changes,
is
right?
different. And I feel like that's a significant enough detail to point at that they're
I
not.
think at some point in the
same
story, it's a
universe.
Baltine hammer, and then you
Right.
see it with a regular clawed hammer
Exactly.
or whatever. Yeah.
So, but we won't get into that right now. So tell us more. Second episode.
I definitely like the second episode more. The ending was really good for
such a
both.
strong cliffhanger,
Yeah, I think it was good.
I think the first one had a strong the first episode had a strong emotional ending.
Yes. Well, it was very cinematic, and it was the music and just like the pacing.
The whole
The editing
and we were
was-
saying I was saying this because it was for us it was a rewatch, but the sound design, especially for episode 1, was just with Foggy's heartbeat slowing down amidst the action, him being able to pluck out certain sounds amongst all the stuff going on. I think is like finally showing peak Daredevil. Like I said, they've done a Ben Affleck Daredevil. Charlie Cox has played Daredevil for Netflix before, but I don't think they've ever highlighted his abilities as Daredevil quite like they're doing right now.
I would like to also add on to that. It felt like in episode 1 there was always music playing.
Did you like that? Or
I like that.
Okay.
Because I wanted to say, and I don't know if this is like crazy to say or if you guys could agree with me, it felt like the Batman from 2022.
A little bit. I totally
that.
agree.
It
see
gave
that.
me that feeling of
Yeah.
like, you know,
it added the tension almost to the situation.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a tension.
it felt like I guess
There's always a suspension of what's coming next. Yeah, because of that. With the continuation of music. Well, what's next?
Exactly.
Or cliffhanger even in the music aspect of it. Yeah.
Right.
And I really do like, because I do like those lawyer shows, and I like how he's a lawyer.
You're better at the behind the
Law.
scenes stuff. Do you know if the music is being done by the same people from the Netflix show? Like,
That's
because there's a lot of overtones and like reprises of the Netflix's theme and stuff in the show.
Yeah, I have no clue. The one thing that
Gonna have to
tells
look
me
that up.
no would be like I feel like they would.
They
be
wiped the
adamant.
board minus Charlie Cox for the most part.
Well, it's just like I feel like they would want to be adamant to use the same theme.
Right. That's the only reason I would say possibly yes, though.
So
Carry the same musical talent
we'll
moving
have
into
to
the show. See
Google
if the tone
search it.
matches. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those things we'll have to post.
So clearly we all.
The action was there. The pacing was there. Pacing for episode 1 was like It was over.
Right.
Even for a 50-minute episode.
So we all liked it. So let's get into episode 1.
What are your negatives for 1? While we're getting it, could we start with like here's the good, here's the bad a little
here's
bit?
The thing is, as they always do, they've misled us in the marketing with Foggy and the whole crew, and
who's around
Eldon
for how long
Hansen had to do his best to.
But being misled in the Marvel universe is a good thing.
Yeah, and
I feel like knowing too much going in is
at this point. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So I'm surprised I didn't see more negativity online, especially on Twitter, about Foggy dying right off the damn bat. I thought that would be a much, much, much more unpopular move. The thing is, because of the trailers and the clips released before the show came out, fans were already anticipating that something like this was going to happen. So
at some point, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
at some point.
So I'm happy that there wasn't that kind of response online, because even though I thought that was probably the most shocking thing about the first episode, like, wow, they're gonna just give us 15 minutes with Foggy and then he's gone. Maybe that does point to the fact that we will be getting flashbacks so that we can see more of their relationship.
Of course. Yeah.
But
like he'll probably be in the show more, but not.
I hope
present.
so. Yeah, I really
like
hope so.
like a guiding spirit, like a Jiminy Cricket conscious, almost maybe
Right.
possibly. What? I'm serious.
I mean, it would work. And
It would
like
work
it.
for him. He'll much. Okay, I think the cool thing about Bullseye being one of Daredevil's villains is that he's so unhinged. He's so
super unhinged.
Matt, when he's under control, is very buckled up. He is very in control. Not the Matt we're seeing right now, but a composed Matt Murdock is very able to handle himself. He's acting a little bit like Dex. If for those who have seen season 3, that saw the cold opening with him murdering 11 people. Now he's just like letting the aggression take over a little bit. Like, and it's kind of cool. There's a lot of like, and I was pointing them out while we were watching. There's a lot of things that are psychologically intelligent about the show, like the juxtapositions, a little bit of like things to like the Oedipus complex, like I said, with like Fisk saying that he wanted to become mayor because his father respected LaGuardia. You killed your father with a hammer. So why would you ever want to become mayor? Oh, to gain the respect of someone that you're still seeking approval from, potentially, which is very unhealthy, but it makes sense given the man he is. There's just really smart things in this show like that they're like carrying over. Like this, it's like I said, it's fresh. It's supposed to be our new comic that we're picking up and reading all from the beginning. But for those that know what came before it, it's respecting that. And I think that's the kind of content that all intelligent Marvel fans have always wanted. Like a little bit of, here's the nod to the past, but we're going to do our own thing. There's a little bit of the King Returns story. There's a little bit of Reborn. There's a little bit of like all the other Daredevil stories in there. But like, you know what? Let's just do the New York thing, throw it in a soup, and make our own thing. And this show is It's working for me. When we started rewatching I was talking about the aesthetic a little bit, the bokeh on the camera shots, like how like, and you were talking about how stylistically between the red when he's knocking out the lights during the Bullseye fight, they're making the lights go like blue. It's just like a bluish hue to show the blackout. Stylistically, the show is incredible because it's almost showing off Matt's senses and how he sees the world. Without seeing.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
And, I wanted to kind of prod a little bit. You said you liked the second episode more. So what didn't you like from the first episode that you did like in the second?
I don't think I disliked anything. I think I
just liked the second episode.
Yeah.
2 just builds so strongly off of 1.
Say that again?
I said 2 builds so strongly off of 1 that it's just a little stronger.
I guess, yeah. I that's probably what it was. 1, I was new into it, and then from 2, I've already had an introduction into the world. Maybe.
All right, so let's talk about it. Episode 2, introduction of.
Hold on, though.
Oh, okay. So
I'm curious though.
This isn't really about the episode, but I think we were talking about how the parallels between real life and.
Oh yeah.
and how
Oh, how art imitates life.
yes,
When we were watching like the Trump and the
exactly,
the
how
Kingpin election.
how he is. You guys told me he was a crime lord.
Yes. All right, because
The
you didn't
biggest
again
one.
not having watched the Daredevil
Right.
show and coming in cold, you would not know that he was.
Right.
Yes.
Because I was asking them like, how is he so popular? Like why was he so popular? How could he have won mayor so easily?
Right.
And you said that he was the biggest. Was it in the world or the nation or the?
At
In
least
New
city?
York, but the amount of power that holds is probably most
Right, 'cause it's New York.
of a lot of the world for sure.
So yeah, I just was like, it's just crazy how people would vote for a man who.
Well, again, I think
was,
that's the beauty in the
crime.
rewriting of like again, like okay, we will pay a lot of attention and detail to what happened in Netflix, but his pride being so broken by losing to Daredevil for the third time, because let's be honest, every season of Daredevil for Netflix had the Kingpin reappear, being beaten not twice, but 3 times by a blind man, had wounded his pride so much that when he came back in this. It's kind of like you would understand it. It's understandable why someone like him is like now almost painting himself as the victim. A, because like he's never been that besides when he was a child, and B, being able to twist that story. Like again, one of his campaign managers is like, oh, people like him because he's someone that gets stuff done for himself, and then he will get stuff done for us. Which again is the parallel to the real life, which is like, oh, Trump is a self-made man, and he's good. But no, I mean, he's the current president. It's the parallel that they're trying to make is that like our president's a self-made man, so he got elected because he can help make us a better country, and that's what they were.
That's great again.
Yeah, that's what they were. That's the parallel they were trying to make.
Yes, no,
But that
100%.
there's a toxic validity in some of the people that think that way because they're not necessarily thinking coherently or of sound mind or in a peaceful state of mind to achieve those things. You know what I mean? Like, which is again, it comes down to like Daredevil. Like, there's lots of Punisher references. There's the tattoo on the
Right.
cop.
Can't wait for him
Just looked
to.
at me when
Yeah, I
Because
just wanted
it's
to make
showing
sure
that there's
you
an
know.
extremist group, which is also a parallel to real life.
Right.
They show that there's a lot of police.
A literal parallel too, because it is
NY,
the
a lot of
Punisher.
NYPD have tattoos. Their cars have the little window stickers of the Punisher logo, and they do wish that they could just pull the trigger on violent criminals.
didn't notice when was that? When was there a sticker on the?
Oh, there was
no,
a tat. Oh.
No, in real life.
In real life, I'm saying that happens.
In real life, there are Punisher stickers on NYPD
Cops.
cars.
No, not an NYPD
on
card.
cops of.
But they'll have
their
like an
own
American
cars.
flag inside of a Punisher skull,
Okay.
much like the tattoo
Yeah.
that we saw
In real life.
Yeah,
in real life.
Isn't
I've
that
seen it
interesting?
multiple times? Yeah.
Is that like a thing in life, or is that like only in the comics?
No, it's in
No.
real life, unfortunately.
No,
And
no,
to me, it's
no. Like the
unfortunate.
Punisher skull isn't
I
something
love the
from real
Punisher.
life. It's the Punisher skull from the comics. But cops are like,
Right.
he's a badass.
Like-
he kills
Right.
criminals.
That's
blah,
very
blah, blah.
interesting.
Like
Yeah.
I'm tired of throwing a cop.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
weird.
it's like anti-Spider-Man, anti-Daredevil. Why or anti-Batman? Why? Just like very Jokerman. Why throw someone in jail that'll just keep getting out if they're gonna keep repeating the crime?
Right.
Like some criminals will always. They're lifers. They're the way some people are stuck in patterns over and over. And the Punisher and the cops that believe strong, the extremists, all want to pull the trigger on
Yeah.
criminals to not have to do the paperwork again, ever again.
Right. Like insane people.
But no, so that's it is, again, art imitates life. I think it's really smart what they're doing. I think anyone that has a problem with it doesn't really realize that like at any time period when anything with the comics, when they were originally written and drawn, the artists and the writers took what was going on in real life. Hey, Iron Man had a drinking problem because he was an alcoholic. It was an 80s problem. It was a super relevant problem that rich men, white cis men, would be alcoholics at the
Right.
time with that much money and be a playboy and have women as a revolving door. Like that was, so they made Tony Stark that. Cloak and Dagger are literal heroin addicts. That's where they get their
interesting.
powers from. It's like a bad batch of heroin
What?
because
That's
they were
crazy.
80s characters, and what was rampant in the 80s? Drugs. So art imitates life. If anyone has a problem with the fact that, oh, this is the show's anti-Trump, I'm anti-Daredevil now, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, forget that.
But the show is so beautifully done.
That's
The
just
aesthetics,
dumb people.
the audio is done. It's just so well done. And the Easter eggs between like the Spider-Man reference. There's so many cool things. There's a Luke Cage reference we were pointing out, the Harlem's Paradise, which people have caught since the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been around since the trailer. The White Tiger being so heavily part of the show is
Right.
super
So
cool.
let's get into episode 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, unfortunately, Kamal De Los Reyes.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. to the fact. I didn't know that until I saw that cold opening, and then I was like, "Who's the person that passed away?" And then when I rewatched it with you, you were saying that it was the White Tiger actor. So that's a bummer, dude. Yeah, the guy that's White Tiger is the person that passed away that episode 2 is dedicated to.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
So he'll be great in the season. It'll be
clearly
interesting
he's already
to see. Yeah, and maybe they will continue his character with
And
his
finally,
daughter.
some Puerto Rican representation as far as on the superhero community side of things. That's really cool.
Wait, what are you talking about?
For a recasting?
No, I'm saying White
Puerto
Tiger
Rican representation.
is the first. White Tiger is the first Puerto Rican superhero in comic book history.
Well, in comic book history,
Yeah.
maybe, but is
In Marvel you
now,
mean?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I know what you gotta say. Keep going.
So he is.
No, keep going.
Okay, great.
No, what? Hold on. What were you gonna say? I have an idea of what you were gonna say.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Miles Morales.
Oh yeah. Okay, but no, I'm still talking about MCU representation.
Miles Morales is from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no, of
Right?
course.
Okay.
Half on his mother's
Well, yeah.
side. Mother's side.
Which
yes.
it's hilarious because I have a friend whose
Oh,
parents
you
are
you
exactly
youngins
like that.
bringing Miles Morales into the conversation with White Tiger's been around since like 1985 or something like
well,
that.
no, you're just saying.
Oh,
Uh,
finally
he's not the
representation. Okay, fair
first.
enough.
He's not the
Live
first.
action,
Right.
MCU related, original superhero. But yeah, no, okay. So we've been jumping between episodes 1 and 2, and to keep things nice and tight, we're gonna. I do kind of want to try to bring closing thoughts into it, and leave.
Thank you.
Because I don't want to open. I don't want us to go too heavy on to these 2, and then 3 and 4 and 5 break our it did heavily with Agatha. If we look back at old Agatha episodes and then see what we said and thought was going to happen, and then see what happened,
Right.
I'm just curious to see what happened. As of right now, cold review for an episode 1 and 2. I'm loving the show. I'm super excited to see where it goes. I'm loving the nods to the previous seasons and the bigger MCU world as a whole, and I cannot wait for some clear cameos that are coming.
I know we can't compare it because they're 2 different shows. But how does it compare to Agatha?
Ooh, that's a mean question. You first. I'm curious. I've been over talking today.
I mean, that requires some thought. How does it compare to Agatha?
They're 2 different shows, but
Because we have the clear cut action versus just like drama and
Right.
psychological stuff.
Right.
going
Yeah.
on.
I mean, my emotions towards the episodes are very different because when I'm watching episode 1 and 2 of Agatha, what's the journey there? You're coming in with excitement because you have the story leading up from WandaVision, and you kind of have the same mysterious aura around it, and wanting to kind of find every detail and notice what you can, and it's much more of a mystery type fantasy feeling, and I love that kind of stuff.
Was Agatha considered Marvel Television?
Yeah.
That's under that.
That was the
under
first
that.
one.
That was the first one. This is the second one for television. Because the other one
actually, no, I think Echo might have been the first one.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
But yes,
Because I'm
Agatha
loving what
is.
they're doing. I'm
Marvel Television
loving.
I thought Echo. I think we talked about this before. I think Echo was Marvel Spotlight.
Marvel Spotlight. You're totally
yes,
right.
yes. Okay.
I
I don't want to jump on what you're saying, but to really surmise your question is, I think, like most, my standards and bar was really low for Agatha. So for
Right.
how good it was, I will put it, because I'm putting, as a Daredevil fan, having watched everything, loving both his villains and him as a character, I'm putting this show on the other side of the spectrum as like high standards. I'm putting this thing under a microscope. and it's still living up to it. So while they're very different genres, I'm actually just like Marvel television as a whole right now, and I'm not trying to like. It's not me even fanboying. They're killing it. I'm loving it. Both shows are incredible. I would take a season 2 of Agatha, even if they don't want to greenlight it, and I'm happy with just a season 1 if that's the case.
Right.
This, I want this to run this into the ground. Make it go till it's boring. I'm loving this.
It was supposed to
already.
be 18 episodes.
Well, they're already they
Let's go.
just started shooting season 2 the other day.
That's good. That's
Let's
good news.
go.
Hopefully it's out by
Give me more.
End
This
of
one's
ne- end
this
of
is the
next
one
year.
right here.
Right.
hopefully
Probably.
like November.
Daredevil's the ultimate street hero. So for me, you could easily tie him into everything. You do Shadowland all over again with a different take on it if you want. Like you've said, also, for those of you that might be like me, George was making up a great point. This isn't necessarily exactly the Netflix universe. This could be a universe that's the MCU's parallel universe that so many things went similar, but not exactly the same.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll have to get into that at some later point because we don't have the time now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole thing. 'Cause
There's
I've
so
gotten
much to
into
come.
many
I'm so
arguments
excited.
on Twitter about that.
There's so much to come.
Yeah, and to kind of answer your question, Reymi, I often find a lot more enjoyment in those first episodes, in all the episodes once the whole thing is out. And I've gone back and watched, as I always do,
Agatha, we're talking about. You're talking about Agatha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just for everything, I know
Oh, you
that I'm
rewatched.
gonna
Gotcha.
enjoy Daredevil episodes 1 and 2 more once the whole show's out.
Right, because I didn't even like Agatha 1 still. I'll still stand on that hill. I'm going to die in that hill.
Right, you didn't like the first
I didn't like
episode.
Agatha 1 at all, but 2 was great. 2 was so good. This was an even 1 and 2 spread. I like this real good. But like, again, episode 10, or the final episode of Agatha made 1 work.
Right.
Story-wise. So my issues are lessened.
Yeah. So, it's a hard question to answer because I have all of Agatha.
We'll answer it hopefully maybe
by the end.
By the end of episode 9.
I am loving how Marvel is testing out this, painting the good guy as the bad guy and the bad guy as the good guy. Right at the end of episode 1, we have Kingpin on the top of the rooftop where Matt's usually standing as Daredevil, and he's on the street with the red lighting and the people fighting, and it's just very like, oh, why are you doing down there? Like, you're like with the worms almost in a weird way.
Right.
It was really cool. I'm excited to see where the season goes. See you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.